Hello, everybody. I want to encourage you to go and have a look at Kunjani Podcast. You can find them on all social media platforms. It's Kunjani Podcast. Please go like, subscribe, and definitely share on their YouTube channel.
The city of Rebecca brings you Kunjani Podcast.
Aisani, busy with Kabeha in Dontani, Namani, Johnny Abulisa Kunjani. How we gonna grow if we ignore what you say? How we gonna know the death of Mquqo and Chris?
Waterways.
Namasiko or Ganjani, Ufuyo Zenge Meko, no Budele, no Batwani, no Mtulo Tazimeko, Uzusia, Windvoel, if 5% no Nene, no Miss Kino. Kunjani.
Good day and welcome to Kunjani Podcast, the podcast with HD content. My name is Windvoel. Uztonga zithathu kwetini kumlunjwa mfondi nondaba ilandwa kuthiwa nabantu nyemkhomazi baduka namahlathi. Namhlanje ke ekunjani podcast bethunana sikwi secret location. Mhlawumbe uyazibuza uba kuphapha, we're in a different place. Asizonichazela for now bakuphi na. But guys, we continue with our conversation. You'll get to know bake sisemazweni. Very exciting episode today. I'm expecting a lot of information, a lot of education, because this is a field that I have little information about, but I really love the craft. Namhlanje I'm with they call the ninja, the content ninja. She's a she's a sound engineer, or she's a sound designer. We'll talk a lot about herself, and we'll also talk about this institution. Ladies and gents, Bronwen. Nell. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
Oh, I'm all right.
I was getting a bit worried in your intro there because, I'm Xhosa light, eh?
Are you closer light?
I'm Xhosa very light. Mm.
Every person that I talk to that speaks English or Afrikaans, they always say, I know Mngwe.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you know? Which?
I can say Molo,
Uh-huh.
Unjani, Dipilile Nkosi. I can say Makuloni Kupela, because we used to do so many adverts that ended in
Makuloni
Kupela. It's only available
Okay.
here. Walala Wasala. It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. I love Walala Wasala.
Now, thank you so much, man, for allowing us to come to your place and have a conversation.
Sure, absolutely.
I've seen your websites and I looked at it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful stuff that you do here, guys. And I didn't know that this place exists.
We keep it kind of on the down low.
Is it?
We do a lot of training. So we've got a company called Radioactive Productions Publishing, which is a mouthful. So we call it RAP for short. And we have two qualifications. The one is for sound technology and the other one is for radio production. So we're very, very busy. We usually have a lot of learners through CETA funding that come through here, and then we run either the shorter programs, those skills development programs, or we do the full national certificate qualifications as well. So we don't do external because the building is just not big enough. We keep ourselves very busy with the productions that we do.
That's beautiful. We'll talk a lot about that.
Okay.
We'll zoom into those legs, because I've seen there's RAPPONLINE, there's wireless, there's Media 7. So we will talk a lot about that. And today I want you to unpack, to get our viewers to know more better about this place. But before we get into that, obviously we would like to know the person that we talk to, the background, where you from, who's Bron?
Who's Bron? Okay. I'm not as young as I look.
Is it?
But I was born in Namibia.
It
was when I was born, it was still known as Southwest Africa.
I remember.
So I was born in the desert in a tiny tiny place called a monument. It was a mining town. And, you know, they actually used to shut us in the village. And only we had security guards and border guards and all of that because it was right on the diamond beach. So maybe I'm a diamond from the desert.
You know?
Hey, maybe. Anyway, so long story short, I eventually landed up in Johannesburg. We moved from Namibia into South Africa. And from Johannesburg, wow, I did a lot of really good things there, but I needed a place that was quiet because I felt that Johannesburg was so busy,
so colourful, so busy.
Wow. And I felt that my creativity was getting stifled a little bit because there was just a lot of noise. I mean, I'm a busy person, so to have all that extra busyness was like, I need some time out. So I moved to Jeffreys Bay. And I was there for a couple of years and it was just too quiet. My goodness. And then eventually an opportunity opened up for me here in Port Elizabeth. And I got to work with the SABC studio here in the Eastern Cape, and I ran their music studio for a bit. I think it turned out to be, I think it was 8 or 9 years that we had some fun there. And all the while I'd been training, and we just wanted a facility and a space for our training. And then we eventually managed to build our own studios and take it from there.
I must say, this place is beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really beautiful. I was amazed when I got in here. I was like, I didn't know this place existed.
Yeah.
Tell me, let's go back to Namibia, because I know...
Goodness.
I don't want to rush this conversation. What is the language that you guys speak? I'm not sure. The Afrikaans, am I right?
I have no idea. I think when I was there, I was very little.
Young.
Yeah, I was very young when we moved. So I think, look, I've always grown up with English, but I think there was a lot of German that was spoken out in Namibia at that time. I was only exposed to Afrikaans when I got into South Africa. That was pretty much, I think, the first time. Yeah, and Sotho, because I stayed in the Free State that's right. I stayed in the Free State for a number of years as well, in a place called Welkom.
You know this place that you are mentioning, actually exposing your age.
Oh dear, has it got a new name?
No, I'm trying to say, most people, especially the 2000, when you talk about Namibia, they understand Namibia as Namibia. But when you pointed it back as what it was,
Southwest.
Indirectly, it says, hey, I've been around for quite some time.
I have been around for... Experience is everything, people.
Tell me about the craft that you do. You're into sound.
I am, yes.
How did this all start?
Goodness, I was 12 years old, and it was... there was a studio opportunity, and I was invited to be a backing singer on a song for a project. And from the moment I walked into that studio, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is me. I love the technical, I love the creative, and I was so excited. And I think that was where the passion ignited the first time. So yeah, I don't think I started playing piano when I was 4. And went for formal lessons. I studied jazz and classical. I studied for a bit at Pretoria Technikon. They had the light music department there. And unfortunately, to health reasons, I couldn't continue. But I then went on to... At that stage, there was nothing formal in the sound engineering qualification spectrum. So I was just really fortunate enough to meet people and get to work in big studios alongside really big producers and learn the old apprentice way, I suppose you can say.
Yes.
I used to sweep the floors and make the coffee and started like right at the bottom rung, you know. I started from the proper bottom. Wow, I wasn't even the intern, hey. I didn't even have a title. But I was privileged enough to watch them work and be part of it. And then eventually there were some private courses that were around at that stage. And I got involved in the private courses. And I just started to apply that knowledge and to apply the music side of things, and I loved the technical side of things. It was just something that still fascinates me today.
It's amazing because I'm told that everything you touch turns into gold here.
Wow, that's a huge
It's
compliment.
amazing
Thank you.
Because even if you look at the field when it comes to sound engineers or sound designers, I don't know how you pronounce it, it's male dominated.
Very much so. It is.
Don't you find it difficult? Because in any environment where males are dominating, they always look down on a woman.
I think I'm so busy I don't really notice that side of things very much,
Yeah.
I think I'm the type of person that celebrates other people's work and celebrates the fact that I know how much hard work goes into creating something really cool. And I think you're right, yes, there are a lot of fields that are male dominated, but it hasn't really held me back, I don't think. I think I've just really had a team of people and met people who celebrate what I do as well. And it's really cool because I've learnt a lot from guys in the industry. And they have such a different way of approaching things, which I think is so nice, when it comes to a mix and when it comes to working with clients in the studio, their vibe and their feel is completely different to the way that I would have approached the session. So I picked up some tips and techniques on how to manage sessions and that kind of stuff from the guys in the industry as well. I don't really think it's a sexist thing, actually. I think it's more because from way back when I'm giving my age away. All I can say is I'm under 50, okay? We still had those analog tapes. Now you got these 2-inch tapes, right? And they're heavy. And you got these big clunky machines. It's not these beautiful little laptops and these small things. I mean, we used to have rooms dedicated for the machines just to do the recording. And I think that's probably because of the physicality of the nature of the sound engineering. I think that was also why a lot more men and males were attracted. I just liked the buttons. And the fancy lights. Yeah, I just love the fact that you took one thing and plugged it in and something happened, and you could manipulate that sound and you could play around with it and it just sounded cool, So I think I've always been experimental in that sort of.
I don't think it will suit me. I don't know. I panic a lot because I experienced in terms of the sound when we started the podcast. When we were trying to connect and there's no sound, and I'm like, do you have do you remember the bad day at the office where
I've had many of those days.
Come out.
Oh my word! I can tell you stories forever, embarrassing stories where I've changed microphones. I've spent an hour trying to get a signal running through the desk, and the client is. Been getting restless, and you know what I did? I didn't actually take the one end of the cable and plug it in. So I can tell you numerous stories. So yes, sound can be a pain, but it's very methodical as well. And I think that's one of the other things that I really love about the field is that you need to be very specific and you need to follow a procedure. So it's really, it's fun. When the technical challenges present themselves, wow, they can, it can be a little bit frustrating.
I mean, yesterday I plugged it here.
Exactly.
Everything was fine, but
and somebody else used the studio. That's my worst. Is when you all set up and somebody else comes in and then you come in and you're like,
your pattern.
What's changed? And it's just one cable. There's always one cable.
So you do sometimes need to be calm at times to be able to deal with these things because it might be just a plug.
Exactly. You've got to be calm under pressure. Sound engineering and working with sound, working with clients in the studio. It's pretty cool because if you make a mistake, you can stop and you can say, oh, okay, cool, let's pick up, let's let's start again, and you can just keep working on something and playing it back. But when you're doing live sound and big concerts and you've got a crowd of people, you've got one shot, and it happens in real time. So if you make a bit of a blooper, everybody knows that you've made a blooper. So live sound can be very tricky, which is why you guys spend so much time checking and prepping and doing line checks. I'm sure that before the concerts at the stadium, you guys have heard 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2 1 2. Like, really, can't engineers talk over 1 2 3 4 at least? 1 2 1 2 mic check. Oh!
I was at a funeral. I think I'm not in Paddy, and I'm so used to 1 2 as well. 1 2 1 2. And then there's the master of the ceremony called this old lady to come and talk. And she tested in the mic like,
oh, no.
And everybody just laughed. Because I'm so used to 1 2 1 2.
Please don't blow into the microphone. You will damage it. The teacher in me is jumping up and down. You'll damage it. It's like you've got this tiny little diaphragm inside there that changes according to the air pressure changes. So when you blow, it's like putting a gale force wind against this tiny little feather inside there, and it can snap it. It can break it. So always 1 2 1 2 testing. Much better. Please don't blow into a microphone.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Yeah, I like the people who understand, the product in its entirety, because those are the small things that we don't, take notice of.
Exactly.
And yet they can, damage the stuff.
The most important thing is your cable. That's actually like even just your connector. If your connector is dirty. We once had I'm not going to go into mentioning names, but we had a concert, a very famous guy, and he's got this really cool vintage mic. It's really cool, and he's a fabulous singer, really good artist. But the problem was that his connection on this vintage mic was faulty. It was a bit loose. So every time he was moving, we would get on the system, and eventually, what do us women do? We went to his manager, who's also his wife, and we were like, sweetheart, we want your sweetheart to sound amazing. Please, I know that he's comfortable with this microphone, but it does need repairing. Please, can you chat to him and ask him if he wouldn't mind using another microphone? So she did, and he did say, okay, cool, for the sake of, I'm here to look good and sound good. And it was such an amazing performance. And she actually came up to us afterwards and said, thank you so much for doing that. We're going to send this mic in for repairs. And we were like, no, don't worry. It's already been fixed by the tech team. So, those kinds of things. But you don't realize how something so small and so silly can interfere with what you're doing,
I want us to visit a little bit on your academic space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you're an expert, man.
All right. Okay, so I did private courses, right, when I started out. And then I did a master's degree via the UK. It was online, and again, it was because there was nothing available in that space when I was studying. So this was, goodness gracious, this was about 14 years ago already. So I was considered a mature student, and all my experience that I'd had in the field was counted. They call it recognition of prior learning. Okay, so all of my experience was counted towards some of the credits, but I had to work really hard, really hard, and I didn't have a lot of bucks, and it was being charged for in pounds. So my motivation was to get this qualification done as quickly as I possibly could, because I couldn't afford to do it over 2 years. So I managed to do the qualification actually and get it done, and I passed with distinction.
Go girl.
And you know what? I didn't think that I would be so fussed about a piece of paper. But when I got that piece of paper, I was like, I felt validated. You know, having something that says you can do this actually does make a difference, rather than just I can do this, you know. For some people in this field, it's not really all that important, but for me on a personal level, it was like, oh wow, I did that, you know. So I didn't go straight from high school into university and follow that pattern. As I said, I did all my all the dodgy jobs, all the difficult stuff, and worked my way up, got my experience, worked with some of the best in the industry. And I think that was key for me, is that I surrounded myself with people that were proper and established in the industry, so that what I was learning, I didn't have to go and unlearn. You know what I'm saying? I was learning the right way of doing things, like working with equalizers and working with compressors and working with the equipment. I was taught by the best.
I think most people, they also fall into that trap as well, because I think there's this formula where from school we have to go to university, and at that time you're not at the stage where you can make a decision as to what you're going to study. But there comes a time some people after 2 years they'll drop out. I don't like this, and I'm going to do another course. So for you to be able to work in this environment and then after that then go for the qualification, I think it was a good move.
I think so. Also, you know, every year, every week, something changes. And especially in our field, it's so vibrant and it's so moving all the time. So I think experiential learning is exceptionally important. You need to know that you can do the job, more than just paper-based, research, academic-based. And when you can take the two together, that's amazing, because then you've got what we call applied knowledge. So you get the knowledge, but you need to apply it. You know, for me, sure. I think the youngsters of today are under an enormous amount of pressure. They're trying to find the balance between doing the traditional route of going, okay, I've graduated, I've got my matric, let me go into a program now, let me study for 4 years and let me find a job. I think the whole world at the moment is upside down and inside out. Everything is changed, and everything keeps changing as all these new things happen.
It's AI now.
Yeah, oh my goodness gracious. Wow, this AI is fantastic, but at the same time it's terrible. It's like, you know, oh my goodness. But anyway, but if I can find AI that can do the coffee in the morning, that'd be awesome. When you learn to work with AI, I think we're going to see some unbelievable things that we never thought possible. And I think that's going to be something. Actually, robots to put up speakers at concerts will be amazing.
It's not impossible, eh?
It's not impossible. That would be incredible.
Because at least these new technologies, they make things faster.
They do.
You know, instead of spending time in studio, now you can spend less time.
We just need to find something that doesn't require power.
Eish, Bron. Eish.
Oh,
that's another topic.
That's another topic entirely. We've made contingencies and that kind of thing, because obviously everything that we work with,
you got to have that contingency plan somehow, because it exists. It doesn't go away. And
especially for technology, you know, we've invested quite heavily into equipment with long life batteries and that sort of thing. Because we need to work, you know. Exactly. Other people and our clients overseas don't understand. What do you mean? What? You know, it's not my problem. You got a blackout, you know. All right, okay. You know, work around it. Still want to deliver. You know.
True. Now I want us to focus on these three legs.
Okay.
RAPPONLINE. The wireless.
The wireless, yes. I'm going to shake this thing so we can see it. Okay. Whoops.
So let's talk about media. Let's talk about the when this institution was established. I think it was 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
RAP was established in 2006. Yes, that's when we got our full accreditation for our sound technology, and we rejoiced. Oh my word, we worked so hard, and we got our full accreditation through CETA. And at that stage, it was with MapCETA. And we started training, and we did private training because we didn't know how the system worked for the learnerships and that sort of thing. And in fact, we'd applied for, I think it was 10 or 12 learners, and we'd been awarded the funding, but there was a middleman, and he ran away with the money. So we decided, we were devastated because my business partner is out from the UK, Polly, and we were devastated. We were like, what are we going to do? So we looked at the group of learners that we had, and we went through them, and we thought, okay, let's choose 4 people that we know that genuinely can't afford education, and particularly technology education, and let's just do it anyway. And it was at that stage that we were at the SABC, and I'd said to them, I specifically want to do training inside of your studio, and they agreed. They said that was cool because they also wanted to have a pool of people that they could look at for future opportunities as well. So it was a win-win situation. And we took on these 4 people, and we got them through their year qualification, and it was quite amazing because I don't know how the maths added up that year, actually. I really don't. God is good. Every need was met, and these learners got their qualifications, and they went on into the industry. Some went into live sound, and some are still busy even from then. And then it just started to grow. We had a lady, I think she was, I'm going back now, so she finished up her qualification with us, and we had the top billing team had come to book the SABC studio because they needed a venue in order, they were doing the presenter search. So I asked the lady who was one of our students to come in and be part of it with us, and we were just there managing clients more than anything else. They had their cameras in. They just needed a venue, really. But we had a good chat with the technical team. She was nearing completion with us, and it just so happened that there was a position opening up.
Wow.
In their technical department. And I said, oh my word, let me introduce you. And they got on like a house on fire. And she walked, as soon as she graduated, she walked into that position. And I think she stayed there for many years, maybe about 8 or 9 years. And then they moved her into a directorship position. Now she travels the world doing like the tropical island of or whatever, I don't know, and she's won SAFTA awards and all of this kind of thing as well. It's been amazing. We had a young guy who housed this. He needed a job, and he said, I'd like to come and work in your yard. And I said, okay, cool, no problem. And I'd never met this man in my life before, never seen him. It was the first time. And he was having a lunch break, and I just finished reading the newspaper, and he said, do you mind if I read the newspaper? And I said, sure, no problem. And he said, I just want to check the matric results. So I said, oh, have you graduated? And he said, no, ma'am, I graduated 2 years ago. I just wanted to see, there were 2 of my friends. And I wanted to see if they'd graduated. So I said, I don't know why I do this. So I said to him, I said, you graduated 2 years ago? And he said, yes. And I said, well, hang on a second. If you could study anything, what would you like to study? And out of this man's mouth, he says, I want to be a sound engineer.
Wow. Speaking your language.
So I look at my business partner, and she looks at me, And I'm like, I can't ignore this. I can't ignore this. So I said to him, oh, wow. I said, then you are at the right place. And I said, I'll tell you what, let's do a deal. I said, I need somebody that will tidy up in my yard twice a week. I said, I will pay you so that you will have money to live on and a taxi fare. I said, and then we're going to sponsor you your sound engineering course. Wow. And we did. And that man has gone on he went and did a further internship at the SABC, got his qualification. He was the hardest working learner we have ever had. When the taxis were striking, he would run to be at the office. He's committed proper. Anyway, that man has gone on. He did an internship at the SABC, and then eventually he moved into full-time employment with them, and he's still there. And he's moved up in the ranks into senior positions and senior technical positions and that sort of. We're very proud of him. Very proud of him. So I've got a lot of stories like that, but you know, when those kinds of...
Yeah, it's a motivation.
I'm telling you. And it's so good because to be in a position to be able to make a difference in somebody's life, I think is a very... there's a lot of responsibility with that. If you've got... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a motivation that says you're doing the right thing. Keep on doing it.
And not just... it's not a charity case. You know, everybody needs to work hard. I'm a little bit strict like that.
But it's true.
Yeah, you got to earn it. You got to know that at the end of the day, you earned this. You worked for this qualification, you know? So we are a little bit of a... I suppose you can call us a bit of a boot camp, a little bit military-like.
So all the graduates that came out of RAP are sound engineers?
Not all of them.
Okay.
For the first, just recently, I think from, goodness gracious, I think it was 2016, we got, they call it an extension of scope. So we extended our qualifications to 2 qualifications. So the one was for sound technology and the other one is for radio production. And so up until 2016, everybody was pretty much the sound technology side of things. And then from there, it was either sound tech or radio production. I think we're taking over the radio stations in South Africa, though. We've got guys on True FM. We've got guys on KQ. We've got guys at Mquqo. We've got guys at Algoa.
These days, you can't just be a presenter that doesn't know anything, but just presenting.
Exactly.
You got to know at least a little bit of sound and I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's multimedia now. It's multimedia. You know, you're quite right.
Someone is listening there, and you're talking nice things about rap and the achievements, and that person wants to know, hey, I want to be there. How do you...
The best thing to do is just to keep an eye on our social media pages. So go and check out Radioactive on Facebook. We spend a lot of time, excuse me,
No problem.
we spend a lot of time advertising and letting people know what's happening on our Facebook page. And then whenever there's an opportunity that's open, we'll say the window is open for applications. But unfortunately, we have very limited space. So we can't take everybody. So we look for the best candidates. And by that, we mean people that we know that when CETA and we invest into them, that they're gonna continue with it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not just something that people want to do because they need something to do. We're looking for those people where it's going to be a life-changing moment for them and they want to continue for the long term in this.
So when you say best candidate, I just need to explain because I can tell you now, where I'm from,
Yeah.
I've got tons of guys,
Sure.
self-taught.
Yeah.
They can't tell you what button is that, but they say you must press there.
Yeah, they know what it's doing.
You know, to reduce the sound, the ambience and that, you must do this.
Awesome.
The middle one, I don't know what it is, but it must be down. That one. But their sound is top-notch, and they're also self-taught. So if you say, best candidate? You mean that person needs to come so you can see what he can do or not?
We have criteria of when our private side of things has kind of people are they don't want to pay for things when they know that they can get a bursary or they can get a learnership stipend. So there's limited numbers that we are offered and given on that side, and then the CETA sets the criteria. So the guys have to have the grade 12. You've got to be 18 to 35 years, and then there's other lists and criteria that are there. And then if we get say 50 applicants, but we've only got 10 spaces, then
they need to meet the criteria.
They've not only do they have to meet the criteria, then they've got to. Then it's about us looking at and going, who is the most passionate about this? Who's the one that just wants to grab this opportunity and give it everything that they've got? Because this is the career and the field that they want to be in. Because it's not just us investing into them, it's also CETA and government investing into them. So we want to make sure that it flows through and they walk into jobs, or they are entrepreneurs and they are going to continue with this beyond,
Well, this is a podcast. So we say we are telling the truth.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Truth and the truth. How do you say that slowly now for me?
That was Zulu.
Oh, is that?
That was Zulu. So when we say sikhuluma maqiniso, sikhuluma, we speak.
Sikhuluma, yeah.
Sikhuluma. Amaqiniso.
Amaqiniso.
That's the truth.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, but so that's the nature of the podcast. If you don't mind, what are the names of the graduates that are now in Mquqo in QFM that you can
Okay. Right, we've got
maybe we know
we've got a guy, his name is Max, and he's on Mquqo at the moment. We've got we know him as Toby Joe.
Okay.
And he's been on KQ, CEO. I think most of the breakfast team actually. We trained 15 people for Gqobela FM.
Okay.
I think they're probably going to shout at
Hey,
me
you
for calling them.
pronounce that so
I'm
nicely.
telling you, I spent a whole year pronouncing
High
that
five
name.
I can tell that you.
They don't like me to say KQ, so get that Q in there. We've got then it's Marisa and Giovan, who are with Top Billing. What's that called now? I think it's Swelepele, or they've changed the production company now, whatever. But that on that side in the studio and out on location. Then at Algoa, there's a guy called Rushain who's doing the outside broadcast. We had a guy called Lungisa. He was with them doing their production. He's now moved to Johannesburg.
Wow.
We've worked with their production team, where we did some skills development and upskilling with their staff. Also with a lady there called Carol Ann.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. You must continue to do what you do.
Thank you. Yeah.
We get to know these people and we don't know where they're from, but we just enjoy and like what they do in all these places that you mentioned, KQ, Mquqo, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, good.
You guys are doing a wonderful job here.
Thank you. Yeah, we love what we do.
They say you gotta love what you do in order for you to do it every day.
Exactly. I think the moment that you stop having fun in your job, you need to think about it and maybe do something different. Because if you're not enjoying what you do, I mean, you spend 80-90% of your time.
Exactly.
Cool.
Media 7.
Oh, goodness.
That's the second leg.
Oh, okay. Media 7 is very new. It's very old, but it's very new. We were finding that with our business, a lot of our clients were getting confused, thinking that students were working on their projects. And although students were there as support, it was our senior staff and the experienced people that were doing the work. So we decided to split the production side of the company from the training side of the company. So RAP is training.
Training. Yes.
Okay. And that's the sound and the radio qualifications. That's rapponline.net. You can go check it out. And then we got Media 7. Now, I do a lot of animation. I do sound. I don't do the animation. Oh, my goodness. I can't even draw a stick man. Useless. Okay. But I can tell you what the stick man can sound like. So I do a lot of sound design for animations. I've worked with some really incredible clients and partners all around the world, which makes it interesting because their time zones are crazy, you know. And I'll usually have somebody from America waiting for something, and somebody in Australia waiting for something, and somebody in Vietnam waiting for something, and the hours are all over the place. So I'm consistently working.
There's time differences in this country.
Oh, time differences are crazy. And then also part of our Media 7 portfolio is Polly, our photographer, and we do videography, we do TV productions. We're busy now with a conservation production. So exciting. We had puff adders. Wow. We've filmed tarantulas and puff adders. And, very exciting things. And they were in the studio, and they were in the studio next door. And I nearly had a heart attack because he left a bucket of spiders next to me in the control room. So we have an interesting life. You know, I was fine until he said there were spiders. You know, anyway. Yeah. So that side of things is really cool, and we do a lot of production work, which is fun. It can be pretty intense and pressurized, as I suppose in any field, really.
Yeah.
You know, deadlines, commitments, deadlines, and people want things, you know, technology. You spoke about AI earlier. You click a button and it's done.
It's done.
You know, I think people forget the human element. You know, we get tired. We need to have a break. We've got to refresh. You know, I think a lot of people, and then they're like, what do you mean it's not done? I ordered this. You know, I'm like, I'm still busy working on what that stick man is supposed to sound like. You know, when he moves, what am I using?
Exactly.
Is he going to crunch? Is he going to crisp? Is he going to what? You know?
True. So that's what Media 7 is all about.
That's Media 7 pretty much. It's the production side of the company. So RAP is the training, then Media 7, and then our wireless.org. That's our radio station. It's called thewireless.org.
Thewireless.org.
Now, for those of you who are not as old as I am, radio used to be called the wireless.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a double meaning and a double play on the word, because obviously wireless connectivity nowadays with all the technology we have, and then of course the radio.
We used to say e-wireless.
E-wireless, there you go.
Lighter e-wireless. Switch on the radio.
Perfect. Lighter e-wireless. I like that.
Lighter e-wireless.
E-wireless. Okay, got it. Oh, goodness.
So the wireless.org is a radio station.
It is.
It's an online radio station.
It's an online radio station, fully licensed. And it was birthed because, how do I say this gently? We were sending our guys out into the field to radio stations and to community stations.
Like you said,
to get some hours up and some experience. And hopefully those stations wanted them to stay after the qualification. And then they would come back with bad habits. Wow. So we thought we needed something here with us in-house that we could monitor and give the guys the pressure of, listen, hey, you're going on air, so you need to speak responsibly and you need to take this seriously, and there is an audience. So we started the radio station, and it's just grown. It's just really grown from there, you know. But it's primarily our motto is cultivating media professionals. That's what we want to do, is give people a real platform. And if they make a mistake, they make a mistake. You know, it's not as crazy as if they make that mistake on a big station, you know, say something like bananas are R2.99 for a dozen or something like that, and it's supposed to be R12.99. You know, where you've got millions of listeners versus some listeners, let's put it that way.
So,
Yeah.
so when it comes to the onlineradio.org,
Yes.
when you talk about the radio station, you need to figure out, is it a Christian radio station? Is it like a commercial radio station?
You know,
What kind of radio station?
our
is it?
ethos is that everything that we do is that we are Jesus believers. So everything is based on that Christian principle and foundation. The work that we do is it's commercial. So we work. It's not a Christian radio station per se, in that we have gospel content only. But we do have a program that goes out on a weekend, on a Sunday, that is a gospel music program. And we do tend to stay away from things that we think might be a little bit too close to the knuckle. You know, we like to keep it palatable. Let's put it that way, and palatable for most people. You know, so there's some hip hop that we just, even though it's really cool, we can't play it. Just the lyric is beep beep. You'll basically, and for some of it, it'll just be beep the way through. So, you know, we do look for the commercial side of things on that, and being a business as well. We have to also realize that our stakeholders and people that want to spend money with us don't want to chase their audience away. They want to attract an audience. However, having said all of that, you know, we listen to people and try to give platform to people to connect with us as well, and give them a space and a place to be heard.
So if you look at when you guys established the station and now, is there any growth? Is there
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we've learned so much.
Is it?
Wow. Yeah. The best way to learn is to make a mistake.
No,
eh?
Bron, I mean in terms of the numbers.
You know what's really cool about online? We call it the Netflix of radio. You don't have to subscribe, it's there. So you don't have to pay like a monthly subscription, but you choose what you want to listen to.
Of course.
So you switch on. We got to be worth the data, okay? Because you're now streaming us, so you got to you know, you've got to be worth the data. And so we find with our numbers that people will tune in for a specific show, and then you'll watch the numbers go whoop. And it's not for any reason except that maybe the timing is right, and maybe that show is very specific to what they're wanting to listen to. So in terms of numbers, it's very difficult for us to gauge and say, oh, we've got 5 million listeners. No, we don't. You know, but we do have more than 5. You know, it depends on the kind of programming that we have, who the presenter is. I mean, and then it's also measured by devices. So I could have this device here linking up to our station, but there's several of us right now in the room. So I don't know how many listeners each device is servicing. So it's difficult to gauge that. I hope I've answered your question.
No, yeah. There's someone there listening who's interested to be one day a radio presenter and is listening to this episode today.
Okay.
What is the criteria? What do I do?
Best thing to do would be to, again, jump onto our Facebook page, have a look at what we're doing, connect with us via, our email address is rapponline@live.co.za, and it's RAPP online@live.co.za. And the best way is to drop us an email as well. And state who you are, what your interest is. If you've got a little demo, you can send us a little demo. Please don't make it longer than 2 minutes. Because if 100 people send me 2 minutes, that's like 200 minutes, and suddenly I start to run out of time to just, you know, just be, you know, and make it interesting. Make us, don't be like everybody else. We're not looking for you to be like another Anele or another Slizo or another Mquqo. We're looking for you to be you.
Be
because
authentic as much as you possibly can.
as much as you possibly can, because that is what the industry needs. That I don't need a personality, I need you. And
Yeah.
you know, don't try to be somebody else. Just be you and the best version of you that you can be. And that's what's appealing to us is
And the language that you guys use?
English. Yeah.
English.
English.
You got it.
You got it, English.
English.
Yeah, you know, we need to be able to understand what you're saying so that we can correct you and see if you're going off script. But besides that, and I don't mean to be funny, it's fantastic to have different languages and to be able to converse and understand different languages. But you must just remember that some languages are very regional and very specific to a specific country. So, for example, isiXhosa is mainly spoken in the Eastern Cape, yes, throughout South Africa, but it's very specific and localized to here in Gqeberha. So, you can't take Xhosa and go into the middle of London and expect people to understand you. So what we try to do is we try to find the balance, and also there are not very many Xhosa stations, for example, or Swati stations that are language specific, and they've already got a full presenter lineup. So by helping our presenters to deliver in English opens up a huge field. Maybe somebody in Ireland, if you've got a nice clear speaking voice and your English is good, maybe somebody in Canada, maybe somebody in the USA, maybe somebody in Australia will want to have you on their show. And that's another reason that we keep it to English, because it just opens up the opportunities to other stations rather than...
I'm with you.
And we had a guy, we used to call him London.
London?
Yes. He could tetum tata, like the best of them. He was proper. He was rural Xhosa when he spoke. But when he spoke English, he had a London accent, you know.
That's why you call him London.
So we used to call him London, you know. Quite funny, lovely guy. In Namibia, I grew up. Also, it was very. There was no segregation at that stage for me at all, and
you get to learn.
You get to learn, and you know what's so cool is you just get to understand people. You know, people are fascinating. I find them very interesting. I like to people watch.
I can share with you now. A simple Xhosa girl had a dream.
Okay.
She dreamt of this green space where there's grapes and green apples.
Okay.
Except in the morning, Mom, I had this dream. The interpretation is, you're pregnant.
Hey, boy.
But if you, it's simple, the same.
Please don't let me dream of apples and green.
The same girl, she's white, and she had the same dream, and the mom is like, wow, it was a nice dream. Nothing about pregnancy. So
goodness gracious.
We're really coming from different backgrounds. So it's nice when we mingle and we get to learn each other's way of doing things. It's really nice.
It is. And we don't necessarily agree, but that's also cool.
Yeah.
You know,
we agree to disagree.
So now I don't know. Let me think.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, Bronwen, I want us to talk about the podcast.
Okay.
I think it has taken over, and there's tons of podcasts. And I also noticed when it comes to radio as well, they now accommodate podcasts as well in radio. What is your take, just generally, when it comes to podcasts?
I think they're fabulous.
Yeah.
I think they're really cool, and it's so nice to see people embracing audio and visual together. So that mixed medium, and it's again that whole diversification of your skill set. You can't just be a sound engineer anymore. You need to be able to pretty much do it all. Not all at once, because then you're going to be like this octopus. Can you imagine?
Yeah, indeed.
You know, it'd be crazy. But you need to know. And I think I think knowledge is power, and I think that the more that you know and the more that you do, the better you become, and you can eventually find what you really like doing and maybe do more of that, but not ignore the other facets. So, in terms of podcasts, I think they're fantastic. I just think that it's some advice I gave the other day. You really need to find maybe 4 companies or 4 people that inspire you. Not hundreds, because then you're going to spend hours and hours and hours watching and never doing. Find 4 companies or 4 people that inspire you and watch what they do and imitate them. Not so that you lose, not copy and paste, exactly. Not copy and paste, but see what they're doing, how they're doing things, and then start to mimic that, start to pattern that, and start and make sure that they're successful people. And I mean that genuinely, because they obviously, people are paying them. Okay, I mean, money is important.
You're just benchmarking.
Exactly. So find those people that you want to emulate, you want to be like, and start mimicking what they're doing, and then start making it your own. Take it and make it your own, but within that pattern and to that standard. And I think we're going to see incredible things. So we're already seeing incredible things. Yes. There's some gems out there, and this whole World Wide Web of being able to have a global audience. You can get out there and do your thing. You no longer are restricted by this.
You gotta apply.
This person. Oh, you know what? Nice project, nice song. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to market it. Now you can own your song, own your material. You can have a nice audience, and you don't need 200,000 people anymore. You just need a dedicated fan base of like 200 people that are prepared to buy your product, and
it'll grow from there.
I think that's cool.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it says a lot about the future of the upcoming kids now, because they're exposed into these things.
Exactly.
They know about subscribing. They know about all these kind of things. TikTok, you name it.
Oh, I think I'm on TikTok somewhere. And I don't know if they got me to do a dance, which is, wow. It's very special. So wasn't gifted in dancing.
Well, no, Bronwen, it was nice chatting with you, man.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot about the space. I've learned a lot about you. I've learned a lot about the lingo as well. I didn't understand mixed media means audio versus video. I always come across this word, but the lingo, the jargon in your space, I've learned quite a lot in our conversation. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you for the invitation. Yeah, it's been lovely.
Yeah. But before we let you go, there's a traditional request. Not only to you, but to everyone, to all our guests. We always ask them before we wrap up to give a word.
A word?
Not just a word.
Okay.
But a word of encouragement to our viewers out there.
A word of encouragement, okay. To all the viewers, I would encourage you, never give up. Don't quit. Keep going, and it does get better, and through the failures you will learn, you will get stronger, and it does get better. Hang in there and just do it.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Really appreciate when I had lots of fun. But before we let you go, last time.
Oh, another one. Okay.
I want you to emphasize your social media platforms so that they maybe write it down and then go and follow. The social media platforms, your Facebook, where...
Okay.
All that stuff.
All right. So if you'd like to get hold of us, the easiest place is RAPPONLINE at live.co.za. That's our email address. It's RAPP online at live.co.za. And then, of course, Radioactive, which is our Facebook page. And the radio station is the wireless, all one word, www.rap.org, and you can log in there. You'll see something that says Listen Live, and it'll take you through to our player. And then, of course, if you're looking for Media 7, it's media7online.com. Thank you.
Do you do voiceovers?
I don't do voiceovers personally.
No, the reason I'm asking, you just said Listen Live.
Listen Live. I've done a lot of productions, and I've picked up a lot from all of these pro voice artists.
For a moment there, you sounded like a voiceover.
So with some of our clients, like if I get like this really sexy voice, I'm like, oh, just do that again, please. So I'm just checking lines again.
I guess anyway. Kakhulu bethu bekuhle kakhulu kuba naye ke Bron apha wakanel Bronwen. Sinole kakuhle man ndethemba nani na ufumana a lot apha kuni kakumbi bantu banamaphupho kuba bakanye bese radioweni nifunda production, producing and all that. Na ukhangeleka lamakhasi onxibelelwana ke bewachaze apha bekuhle kakhulu ke masibabayise ke ngoku. Let's say goodbye to them.
Okay. Good. Cheers. Bye.
Subscribe, tweet ubosilandela bakhona benza ukuhle sibangweni ubosibalela. Okay thethe nawe xa ungasali phansi ngengxolo ishow izaqala attune inumamele ishow ezakhaya basingobani senze njani enza intoni ezakhaya each one inyathi buzo kwaba phambili take notes nasi ingcebiso ungasibona uphambili thethe nawe nyibip esuke emgubeni ixesha lifikile abophanda usuke esigubeni iphubo bunalo liqale yes phansi zibale khawuleza mntase ngo5 hamba nombane sithande eso sokhanya for everybody. I done it practice club since I'm all in the behind Figili Unjani Figili Unjani Figili Unjani Figili Unjani Whoever said diamonds are forever I'm sure but it's born on all the pressure that I'm under. My future clear, maybe Bazi Bamba. Too much in my life, man, Clambies over jumper. Let's get back to rapping, ham, Rappaluli Sandler. We all man, tell them we're the real Mquqo. Time to talk now, hustler dig deep. Man, I come from the 6 and I say what I'm on. Yeah, it's time to motivate us, I'm too papa born. Try to give them flowers, let's appeal to born. Try to give them power and vuselela la food. Conversate to educate, sikelela la God. Cheat you on the map, that's the end of the goal. If they think by a shia sala someone in Jolly, we gon' get there flying to honest papa the nyoni. Mr. C.I.N. Tuanang losing a Joni. They try to pull me down, man, it's not about Coney. I got them practice club, since I'm all in the behind. Figili Unjani, Figili Unjani, Figili Unjani, Figili Unjani. Aisani, busy when Kabeha in Unjani, Namani. Unjani yabulisa pa Kunjani. How we gonna grow if we ignore our youth, sonny? How we gonna know the death of Mquqo and Chris, sonny? Mfundo ngenkubeko namasiko or kanjani. Uvuyo zengembeko nobubele nobathwani nomculo chazimeko. Uzosiya kwenziwa njani? Vibe izenonene noma isiphi nobathwani. Kunjani Kosibalisele ngawe chowukhulu njani. Uyiqale kuqalele sifuna uqondo khule njani. Uthando lomculo and your craft uqale njani. Amajingi qhiwe challenges iphethe njani. This is not a joke, siyasebenza fasisipani. We teach and give you hope, nyamezelo yekinkani. Phetho saziwayo ngele nkobe sifuna inyani. Kuqarha luthethayo yiza nawe wena ungubani. Kunjani
Molweni kunjani dinga ungachopha usixelele ukuba ngubani ummo wakho wenza ntoni thini into yakho ungowaphi esi sigqibo sokuzabalaza ngobugcisa usithathe njani eneneni nje khawutsho kunjani ukuhla usenyuka ukhwele emaqongeni ufuna ukuyaphi injongo yomsebenzi wakho yintoni yanga ungafika kwawapha amanqanaba phinde usebenze nabanye esi sisitulo sokuphalaza yonke iminqweno yonke imibono yizaso kunike udlwana ndlebe uthethe yizaso kunike udlwana ndlebe uthethe